Hi, I'm Greg Aronowitz, and this is BarnyardFX. Today I want to talk to you about Here She Is, which is another Anna Akana short that I designed. The short comes out in a couple weeks, and Anna's finally ready to show you guys some stuff, and she said I can show you some behind-the-scenes stuff too. So I want to talk a little bit about actually putting the set together. Now, this was a particular project that I feel like is a milestone in where Anna's going with her directing and writing. It was also the first time that it was like a full production. Everything else was kind of like, we're shooting a short and there's a couple people there, but this had a whole cast and crew and a dozen makeup artists and I don't even know how many extras. It was, you know, dozens and dozens of extras and cranes and all kinds of equipment. So it was definitely a departure from the previous productions. Came with a whole bunch of new hurdles to jump over. One was the set. We needed to create what was essentially a huge extravaganza, like something that would be on network television. You know, this was supposed to be kind of like a Miss America type pageant and just be very glorious and designed. And we were on stage 3 of the YouTube Space LA, which is basically a black box, and there's a little stage in the corner that's catty-cornered. It's an awkward space to shoot a production where a set is required. It was a challenge to kind of try and make this black space look colorful and interesting, and all with balloons. So there was hundreds and hundreds of balloons, and we were blowing them up to like as max as they could blow, which means that they would pop easily. And you had to tie the balloons together and wrap them around, and a lot of times just because of the friction they would pop. So all day it was like being in some weird kind of minefield, because you would just be working and all of a sudden pop and like everyone would scream. But it all looked good in the end, and especially in the wide shots. That was the thing. That was the biggest trick and the biggest challenge, was to just take essentially nothing, just balloons, and put them in a room and make it look like it's an entire set. I think it worked pretty well. Luckily for the art department, popping balloons was like the biggest problem we had that day, but it wasn't as smooth for production in general. Like I said earlier, it was kind of a departure from the earlier productions, and there was some growing pains shooting with a crane. We're gonna get some really cool shots and do all this stuff. Unfortunately, the crane was too big to actually fit into the stage. And then technical difficulties, camera stuff, camera's not working.
So right now camera's having an issue, so we are gonna wait until this issue is resolved. Apparently the screen froze as he finished the move, so we're already a little behind schedule, but I don't know.
On a full-scale production, usually not an issue. There's either multiple cameras or there's multiple days. If there's something, you know, if you're delayed for some reason on one day, you can make it up on the next day and you can figure out something. This was a huge production to attempt to do in one day. And I took Anna to the side and I said, listen, don't kill yourself like trying to make the entire day. Like, things are going wrong that are out of your control. It happens to everybody. Make the most out of, you know, we just blew up 1,000 balloons. Like, film this set all the way, because she was thinking about like cutting shots and stuff. I said, maximize this and then we'll just pick it up another day and, you know, take a breather and think it through. And you know, that's always a tough thing to advise somebody to do, because you don't know, you know, when you're directing a project, you're just looking at your, you know, the eye on the prize, and you're like looking at that deadline of the end of the day. You don't know what's beyond that day. You're like, if I don't get these shots, I might never get these shots. So in her mind, she's like, if I don't do that other scene, there might not be another scene. But from my perspective, I was just thinking, you know, make the most of the scene you have, because there's no guarantee that even if we race through this, that there won't be other problems and then we won't get to the other scene anyway. So she took my advice and shot the other scene on another day, and I think it helped relieve a lot of stress. And you may be saying, like, why would you tell us that story? Like, what? That's not a good thing. But it's something like, even as I'm standing there watching these things happen, And you know, I've been on hundreds of film sets and done all kinds of stuff with all levels of directors. But watching Anna on these projects, she's so good at what she's doing that I often forget that she does these shorts because she wants to learn how to be a filmmaker. She's like teaching herself by throwing herself into the fire. And the best way to learn is to make mistakes, because when everything goes right, you don't actually know what could go wrong, which means you don't actually know anything. You're like Jon Snow, you know what I mean? People like love Anna and think, you know, she's perfect and she's a goddess and she's so good at everything, and she is all of those things, but she's also amazing because she makes mistakes and learns from them, and we all learn from them. And you know, jumping in over her head into this project, as stressful as it was, has made her better for the things that followed. You guys that want to be in film or anything you want to do, any creative process that you want to achieve, you need to know that there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be, you know, blockage, there's going to be all kinds of obstacles, and everyone runs into that. The people that are really good at it figure out a way to go past it, and that is Anna for sure. The best part of working on these projects is even when everything seems like it's going wrong, balloons are popping and cameras are failing and it doesn't seem like anything's gonna go right, we still have a lot of fun. And you know, it's a great crew, a great team, and the end product is always wonderful. So hopefully you enjoyed this behind the scenes look at Here She Is, and I hope you're excited for when it comes out. Stay tuned for more stuff coming up.